All the best to all the students taking SAT this Saturday. Here is a request from one of my students who wants to understand how do we find solution of the given question. More than that, what we are going to discuss here, what is the best strategy to answer such a question? That is one part. And the second is, how can we save time while answering such a question? Now, these two critical points can help you score very high marks in SAT, which is a time bound test. So, the questions relatively are not very difficult, but speed is critical. You need to answer all those questions within the given time. So, that is the most challenging part. And therefore, the strategy to understand how do we efficiently answer questions is what we will discuss in this video. So I'll share with you two different methods of solving the same question. So let's go through the problem first and then we'll discuss these methods. The problem here is find the value of p if the sum of roots for the function 3x plus p times 5x square minus 45 times 2x square minus 16x plus 60 is 20 by 3. So that p is what we need to figure out. Since we are given sum of roots, what you could do is find all roots. Right? So we can find all the roots. Let's say the roots are, uh, let's say alpha 1 plus alpha 2 plus alpha 3 plus alpha 4, and this is degree 5, 2, 2, and 1 plus alpha 5. There are going to be 5 roots, and that is equal to 20 by 3. This is one method. Calculation of the roots might take some time. However, this is a pretty good method to answer the problem. The second method is what I feel is the best, since you know what is Vietas formula, right? So we are going to use Vietas formula. Now, since we need sum of the roots, so sum of the roots, if I say alpha 1 plus alpha 2 plus alpha 3 plus alpha 4 plus alpha 5, all the 5 roots, is given to you as 20 by 3. Now, in this equation, which is of degree 5, you can also find the roots as minus the coefficient of the fourth term over the leading coefficient a5. You get the whole idea. So that will also give you the solution. Perfect. Since this equation f of x, when you expand, will be of the form a5 x to the power of 5 plus a4 x to the power of 4 plus a cube x cube plus a square a2x square plus a1x plus some constant, right? So we'll say a0. That is what it is. And the ratio of a4 with a5 and negative gives you the sum of the roots, right? So that is what you get. So these are two different methods to solve this particular problem. So let's adopt them one by one and find what is the solution of this question. I hope the concept is clear to you. Perfect. So let's begin with the very first method. So we are given 3x plus p, right, times 5x square minus 45 times 2x square minus 16x plus 16. Find roots. So for the roots, we can say 3x plus p means x is equal to minus p by 3, right? That is the first root. From the other, 45 divided by 5 square root, right? So we get plus minus square root of 45 divided by 5, which is plus minus square root of 9, which is 3. And now let us see how do we find root of this one. Factoring is slightly difficult for this, so we'll use quadratic formula, right? So we can say x is equal to, we'll use this formula. So x equals to minus b plus minus square root of b square minus 4ac over 2a. So if you use this, as you can see, we have 2 times 16 times 30. You could also reduce it taking 2 common. It becomes slightly more easier for you, right? But anyway, b is 16, so we'll use minus of 16. So it becomes 16 plus minus square root of b square, which is 16 square. Minus becomes positive. Minus 4ac, that becomes plus 4 times a is 2 times 60. Everything divided by 2 times a means 4. Correct? So these are your the other two roots, right? So we have got 5 roots, minus p by 3 plus minus 3 and 16 plus minus that. So let's do the sum of roots, right? So which is, let's write down in a different thing, minus p by 3 plus 3 minus 3 plus 16 plus something, right? 16 by 4, let me write, which is 4, right? And then again, let's say that this all value is a, right? So that will cancel, right? So 16 plus, let's say, some value, let's say x, and let's say b, for example, right? And then we have plus 16 over 4 minus b, where b is equal to all this divided by this. Is that okay? Right. So we kind of split it. So, and we know this is equal to 20 by 3. So, as you can see, when you add, they get subtracted. This also gets cancelled, right? So, we are left with minus p by 3 plus 4, then again plus 4 equals to 20 by 3, correct? So, this 20 by 3 and p by 3, and here we got plus 4 as 8. So we can write multiply by 3, you get minus p plus 8 times 3, 24 equals to 20. And taking p to the other side, we get 24 minus 20, which is 4. So we get the value of p as 4. You see that? So that is how you can find answer using the roots of this particular equation. As you can see, I saved some time by not calculating this number at all. Since plus and minus, when you add the roots, they get cancelled, right? So I just wrote a value b and cancelled it. So that ways I'm saving some time, which is critical for any SAT question. But I got the answer right. Perfect. Now let's follow Vietas' method of roots. Now this is a very efficient method. Let me explain you once again what are we trying to do. We'll actually not multiply and expand it, but we are only looking for the two important coefficients. I could write this function as something to the power x to the power of 5 plus a4 to the power of x to the power of 4 plus a3 x to the power of 3 plus a2 x square plus a1 x plus a0. Now, as per the formula, the sum of roots which is given to you 20 by 3 is equal to minus of a4 over a5. Now the question is, how do we find the coefficients a4 and a5? So a5 is the coefficient when x to the power of 5 is written, right? So let's find when you get the leading coefficient. Leading coefficient is when you multiply 3x with 5x square and 2x square. What do you get? So the leading term, you get 3 times 5, 15 times 2, 30, right? So you get 30 x to the power of 5, correct? Now, we have to see how do we get x to the power of 4. To get x to the power of 4, we could multiply p with these two terms. That is one way of getting it right. So let me write down this as p times 5 times 2, which is 10p. Right. This is one way of getting x to the power of 4. What could be the other way of doing it? The other way could be I could multiply 16x minus with 5x squared, right? 3 and then 1, 3. So that is the other way. So the other way here is I could write this as minus 16 times 5 times 3. Or 5 times 3 is 15, 15 times minus 16, which is 240 negative. Likewise, we can calculate the other terms, but in this calculation, we only need coefficients for x to the power of 4 and 5. So we can work with this now. So we get 20 over 3 equals to negative value of a4, which is 10p minus 240. Take only coefficients, right? Divide by 30. Well, this can be simplified. 3, right? And these two get cancelled. And so that gives you an equation 20 equals to minus p. We can open the bracket, right? So I'll write this as minus p plus 24. So p is equal to 24 minus 20, which is 4. So we got exactly the same answer. However, we don't have to find the roots. You see that? Why is this method far better? Now imagine that instead of this quadratic equation, you are given a cubic equation, which you cannot find roots of. Then how will you solve? The only method available to you will be the Vietas methods, which you should be using. And therefore, knowing this alternate method is a must for you to really score very, very high marks. I hope that makes sense. Feel free to write your comment, share your views. If you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for your time and all the best.